Hello and welcome. Hope you're doing all right. Joining me on this blustery spring, I daring to say, or late winter morning. So you can see, welcome to the shit tip. We're out the front. This is where me sorting through the whole house and garden and all that. This is all the stuff that hasn't got any space anywhere inside, basically. So I need to find a space for it. So going to do all this now. You can see at the end there, I've repaired the two fences. So that is quite good. That's had the knock-on effect of freeing up the fence posts that were there, which means that I can use them out the back for making the boxing in of those pipes. And then once those are nailed to the wall or screwed to the wall, I can strip down all these pallets I've had for 2 years, take all the front bits off them, bin or burn the rest, and then I can use them to face up the boxing out there. Okay, so yeah, learned a valuable lesson today. The lesson being, if you're going to make a compost heap near quite a few big trees, do not leave the compost heap open to the ground, because that was basically just a big massive mound of these roots that you can see here. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's lesson learned, let's put it like that. So if you want, I've done 3 or 4 of these pallets now. If you want pallet stripping 101, then this is the technique that I found which is best. So turn them upside down, preferably on a wet day. You'll need these two, a hammer and a crowbar or floorboard lifter. And then what it is, they've got beast nails coming up into the blocks, so you kind of want to pull it off the nails rather than try and pull them from the top, if you see what I mean. So you get that end, whack it on that join there, on just under the block, go in every corner, smash it in, prop it up, go around. Some of them pop up first time, some of them you have to go around and work your way around to pop them up. And then once they're all popped, go around again and just loosen them right up, and then you can just lift it off. You've got that, which can obviously just be stripped down in a minute, and then you'll be left with some of these which are on the little runners, as you can see. And the same thing goes, just leave it where it is and then just work your way down each slot, lifting it, and these all pop off for the most part, and then you just got to take the nails out. Right ho, we are getting there eventually. It's taken a while, but yeah, just going to do the last little tidy up, and then I'll take you through it all properly. So just 5 tips I wanted to share on the pallets. I went through a couple of them just a minute ago, or what was a week or so ago. So number 1 rule is, if you're going to be stripping pallets down, make sure that your crowbar or floorboard lifter is quite a wide one. If you use a thin one, then it splits the wood. The slats are what I'm calling the front bits, the nice bits on the top of the pallet. So yeah, make sure your floorboard lifter is nice and wide. Second one is, yeah, make sure the pallets are soaking wet, and I mean sopping wet, so that they're literally drenched. It's not, as long as they're not rotten, it's not going to affect them. They'll dry out, but they just pull apart a bit easier. Otherwise they're a bit brittle and they snap a bit easier. Third tip is, like I said, turn them upside down and pull the blocks off of the nails from the bottom, if you like, rather than put the pallets the right way up on the ground and try and lift them up the top. Otherwise you'll just split all the ends of them. Number 4, the blue pallets give you better quality wood and harder wood, if you like, but they take about 4 or 5 times longer to strip apart, so they're a lot better built, and they tend to be a bit more brittle even if they're wet as well. And number 5, if you're doing custom stuff like I have, make sure whatever you're doing is in multiples of either 1 meter or 1.20 meters, because that's what size the pallets come in. So for example, where I faced up around this with them, you can see my strut there is on just halfway on 1 meter, so that I didn't have to cut any of the pallets down after that. And what I did is I stripped them down. Any of them which were the whole top lot was good, like these, I just took the blocks off and left the little runner bit on the back of them, hammered the nails down, and then I've just screwed them in as kind of trellis. And then the bits underneath, which you can see are vertical, those are ones where, like, you'll get pallets and a couple of the slats will be damaged. So those are the ones that I stripped right the way down, took all the nails out, and then I can hammer them in vertically like I have done over here. So those ones over there are the 1.2s behind the trellis, and these are the meters here. And then of the ones that are left over, you know, the odd 1 or 2 per pallet, those are the ones that I've cut the rotten ends off or the damaged ends and then just filled in the gap, if you see what I mean. So yeah, it worked quite well, doing all right. Well, we got there in the end. I think it looks pretty good as it is. Ignore that big pile of mud there with all the cat defenders on it, but we'll have a quick brief run through of it. So all in, I reckon it was probably about 300 quid. You can see I've got a few fence posts that are in the ground, and then I've got some ones that are half cut up, which are against these big floating bits of wood on the fence. You can see they're 4.8 meter long, so it spans 3.5 fence posts. So it's just to add a bit of structure to it, because at this end, I really couldn't be bothered to dig another fence post hole, so it's just kind of floating on it, if you see what I mean. It's not in the ground or touching the ground, that fence post. And then yeah, just faced it up with the pallet wood. I'll give it a bit of a sand and then a paint off. I just got to decide what to do. So you can see the idea I've had is that we're gonna have some plants and ferns coming out the top. So if I show you that, I just built it up a bit bigger, and then using offcuts and whatever else I had lying around, I can do that. And then I can also put different bits of wood in for different size pots, but you can get pretty decent pots in there, you know, so I'm not constantly having to repot stuff. And then yeah, so around here I'll probably put some pots down the left of it, and then hopefully get a climber in the front of it in the ground. But it's an absolute pig to dig through this stuff. It's about 1.5 foot of all this gravel and that, which is highly compacted, so it just takes time. So if I don't have to go into the ground, I won't. Speaking of going into the ground, compost heaps there, that having loads of roots come up, because I probably didn't turn the thing, has sketched me out a little bit. You can see I bought a base for it there, lent up against the fence, but any ideas particularly on what I should do for that, seeing as there's a big old tree right there? My thoughts were I was going to dig all this down a little bit, put some membrane down anyway, just for under the bins and that, and then in the recycling bins and under the bin, put a load of put a load of gravel, and then under that just put loads of mud, so the worms can sort of come in from the side, if you see what I mean. There'll still be a couple of inches of mud underneath it before it gets to the membrane, because obviously I'm not really going to be able to turn that. I can do, because there's gaps in the fencing above, there's slats of wood I've put in. But yeah, if anyone's got any advice for that, should I just leave it open and hope for the best, or put loads of cardboard down, or put some membrane down? Yeah, let me know. So yeah, that one turned out right. Just going to make a number of the house out of trellis on the end there somewhere. We'll sort that out. This bit of mud, want to make a sort of flower bed if I can. The only thing I've got to consider is that the place I found for my ladder is up there. It's got that little bit of wood lent up against it, but essentially that pulls out towards us, obviously because of all the fence posts. So I need a little path running up the left hand side here, so that I can pull it out and then swing out this way, I think. So I might get away with just a path along the back of it, and then where this gravel is now, and then the sort of rest of that I might be able to make a raised bed or something, and I might even be able to pull it out a bit further, you know, get some decent plants in there. Again, as I said a minute ago, the pallet wood is fully stripped against the shed, or what makes the shed, and then I've just used the tops of a couple of them because they were nice to use as trellis. Same again with this one. You can sort of half see the ladder the ladder from the road, which is not ideal, but again, I've put some struts down there. I'll finish off the the bits the pot's sitting on, then that might cover it. If not, I can put another long bit of wood along that whole length, if you see what I mean. So, but we'll get to it when we get to it. I don't want to buy wood if I don't particularly have to. So again, probably a climber in there. I think it will depend. If I can make a good flower bed there, then I'll put the climber there and let it climb across the corners, if you see what I mean. And then I'll just put some pots down at the bottom of this. If not, then I'll dig some flower beds down in there probably. So yeah, what we've got space wise isn't too bad. I don't know if you're getting the kind of perspective on this, that shed on the left is about a metre sort of long or wide as we're looking at it, and that one's about 2 metres, but it doesn't go out like that. So if we go in, I will put a door on here or some form of covering, and then to the left will be for tip stuff and the scrap metal that I generate from work, just to keep it out of sight because it's black bags and horrible. This thing here, I'm probably going to use that for the shelving on these 2 runners. I'll just cut it to the exact shape and then sit it there, and that looks like quite good. And between the 2 of them, I'm not particularly fussed if any rainwater gets in, so I'm not worried about putting a roof on it underneath. Roofing wise though, so you can see I've got the things in ready for. I actually need to buy some more batten for the cross braces, but from the full right hand side all the way up to the left hand side of this door in front of us, that's going to have permanent roof on it. And then what I'll probably do is make up a frame for this bit that's going to have the plants on top of it, and maybe put cold non-hardy stuff, tender stuff up there, you know, like Dixonias for example, because they'll give me big fronds for not needing too much of a pot. And then in the winter I can make up a frame that's ready with the roof on, and then just literally sit it on the top and screw it in, and then that'll be it for winter, if you see what I mean. But it'll be open to the elements for 10 months of the year if you like. So that's the plan with that. And then in here, just a nice little cubby hole, I'd say probably 80 centimeters before it gets to the water butts. You can just see in there, this cabinet, I took it apart. The wood's actually quite hard, nice wood. So that's what I'm going to make the shelving out of. But I need to work out what's going in it. It'll be all this rubbish here, all the spades, mattock, wheelbarrow, parasol, and anything else that will fit in there basically, because that will be under a cover, so I can put the outside furniture in there, or the cushions or whatever I want to put in there. So that's pretty good. And you can see I've even just put the ladder on 2 runners because I'm not going to need the middle one, so that'll let some light in. So I might even be able to get like a nice pot in there for something that's you know, likes the shade but it'll still get some light. So that's pretty good. And then around here, this is what I'm going to get creative on the trellising for, because it's quite a big thing. It's probably 2.5 meters wide by 2.4 high, something like that. That's what I'll use, all the odd bits that I saved of the trellis, and battens and that, and I'll do something creative and probably 2 pots. I'm really thinking a couple of the Pilosegia verbanoides that I've got in the back garden. They have a really nice form and they like shade, and this is really quite heavy shade here. You can see south is that way. Okay, and then you've probably seen it before, but if not, round here is me water butts. There's a bit of a state. I haven't properly tidied it up, but the water butts are sat on the table so that it gives me the pressure, so I can just open up the tap if you like, and then it goes for all the irrigation, and all the flower beds in the back are lower than this height, so it'll just push it through naturally on the drippers. Got this ladder, which, yeah, I didn't consider this ladder when I was thinking how high to make it, because it doesn't actually fit under the roof now, but I don't ever use it. It came with the house, so I'll probably get rid of that. And then under the table for all the pots, and then down the side of the table for you know, like bags of compost and whatnot. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Going forward, got the particulars to do like the door and just work out a few little odds and sods and finish the roof and all that. And then I'm going to work out a plan for painting and planting. Not sure yet. I kind of want to use it as a dry run for the fencing out the back. There's a very particular reddy brown I want for the fence out the back. So I've bought some teak, and I've probably for the use some like mint green or olive green, if that makes sense. And what my immediate idea is, any of this big long big wood that we've got down the sides and at the top, anything non-pallet, basically do it like a reddy brown teak color, and then anything on the inside, so all these panels if you like, do them the green. And then I'll just have to work out whether the trellises are done green or whether I do them teak or whether I do something else with them. So but that's about it. So yeah, we'll wrap that up for now. We'll do part 2 in a few months time, and then we'll have a tour at the other side of the garden, because that'll have a load of stuff, and I'll have loads of plants to put in and whatnot as well. But that's a good job. It's freed up loads of wood. So next one we'll do is out the back, is boxing in all those pipes and, you know, have a fire. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.